Welcome back to Lucky Penny Finds. Do not spend these coins. Check your pocket now, because this old Jefferson nickel could be hidden wealth sitting right in front of you. This is a rare U.S. coins alert, a silent fortune, and the first coin in our countdown is already shocking. Stay till the end, because what comes next is even bigger, rarer, and more dangerous to ignore. First up. Now look closely at this 1946 Monticello Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it may look like nothing more than an old 5-cent coin, but this is exactly where collectors get nervous. The 1946 date takes us straight into a major turning point in American history. World War II had just ended. The United States was moving from wartime production back toward normal life. Factories were changing direction, and the economy was entering a completely different era. And when a coin survives from a transition like this, every surviving example can become a piece of history that collectors desperately want. Turn it over, and the design tells its own story. On the front is Thomas Jefferson, facing left, with his name and the date 1946. Flip it to the back, and there is Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home, with the denomination 5 cents and United States of America surrounding it. But here is the detail you absolutely cannot ignore. This example has no mint mark. That means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins traditionally carried no mint mark. To the untrained eye, that empty space means nothing. To a serious collector, it can be one of the first things worth checking. And feel this coin. A genuine Jefferson nickel from this era weighs about 5 grams, measures roughly 21.2 millimeters across, and is about 1.95 millimeters thick. Its circumference, or girth around the edge, is roughly 66.6 millimeters. It has that unmistakable solid nickel feel in your hand because the standard Jefferson nickel composition was 75% copper and 25% nickel. This is not a lightweight piece of pocket change. It has presence. But the real danger is what happened to these coins after they left the mint. Millions were made, spent, dropped, scratched, exposed to moisture, carried for decades, and eventually disappeared from circulation. Some were melted into the background of everyday life. Others were damaged beyond collector appeal. And every time one is cleaned, polished, scratched, or aggressively handled, another piece of its original character can be destroyed. That is why this very fine condition example gets interesting. Collectors want originality. They look at the date, the lettering, Jefferson's portrait, Monticello, the steps and architectural details, the edge, the surface texture, and the overall wear. They study tiny marks that most people would never notice. They want to know whether the color and toning developed naturally over decades or whether someone tried to make an old coin look newer. Never clean this coin. Seriously, do not clean this coin. That shiny appearance you think makes an old coin better can actually make collectors walk away. Original toning matters. Natural aging matters. Even the little imperfections can tell the story of how the coin survived. And then there is this question that makes this coin impossible to ignore. Why are collectors hunting for survivors instead of simply buying another one? Because the market is not just about how many were originally produced. It is about how many survived in desirable condition, how original those survivors remain, and how badly collectors want the right example when one finally appears. At serious auctions, valuable coins can sit quietly for a moment before the room suddenly changes. One bidder raises the offer. Another refuses to back down. The price climbs because the right coin cannot simply be manufactured again. Collectors who already own exceptional examples may hold them for years rather than sell, while new collectors continue entering the market. Demand can rise while genuinely desirable supply becomes harder to find. And according to the market value provided for this example, this 1946 with no mint mark Jefferson nickel in very fine condition is valued at $140,000. That is serious money. That is hidden wealth. That is the kind of number that makes you look twice at every old nickel you encounter. But remember, actual value depends heavily on authenticity, exact grade, surface preservation, varieties or errors, and professional authentication. If you think you have one, patience is golden. Do not spend this coin. Do not clean it. Do not scrape it. Handle it by the edges, protect the original surface, and consider professional grading because authentication and condition can change everything. This is not fiction. The treasure hunt feeling is real, and the tiny details are what collectors obsess over. Stay till the end, because this is only coin number 1. The next Jefferson nickel is even more shocking, even harder to ignore. And there is one tiny detail that could make collectors look at it completely differently. What comes next is bigger. Much bigger. Next up. What comes next is where this hunt gets seriously dangerous. You found coin number 2, and this 1969 with D. Jefferson. Nickel may look worn, dark, and forgotten, but do not spend this coin. That D mint mark, those unusual black spots, and the survival of an original circulated surface can turn an ordinary-looking nickel into a hidden treasure. Check your old coins now because people can lose serious money simply by spending the wrong one. Stay with me because the next detail could change everything. This is a 1969 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel, and the year itself puts us in a fascinating moment in American history. The United States was deep into the Cold War, the space race was dominating national attention, and 1969 became one of the most unforgettable years in American history when Apollo 11 carried humans to the moon. At the same time, the country was dealing with rising costs, changing industrial conditions, and major economic pressure. Coins from this period passed through millions of hands, and many were used hard before eventually disappearing into collections, drawers, jars, and forgotten boxes. Now, look at the front. Thomas Jefferson faces left, surrounded by United States of America, Liberty, and the date 1969. Turn the coin over, and you see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, with 5 cents and the surrounding inscriptions completing the classic Jefferson nickel design. But flip it back and look beneath the date. That small letter D is not decoration. It identifies the Denver Mint, and for collectors, the mint mark can completely change the identity and desirability of a coin. Now, feel the coin in your hand. A standard Jefferson nickel from this era weighs about 5 grams, measures roughly 21.2 millimeters across, and is around 1.95 millimeters thick. Its circumference, or girth around the edge, is approximately 66.6 millimeters. The familiar nickel composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that solid, substantial feel that makes a Jefferson nickel instantly recognizable. But this particular coin has something that makes it visually stand out: the black spotting. And this is where you have to be careful. Dark spots can come from natural environmental exposure, oxidation, staining, contamination, or other surface reactions. They are not automatically a valuable error. Serious collectors want to know exactly what created those marks. Are they original? Are they stable? Do they affect the surface? Are they damaged? Or is there something unusual underneath? That is why you should never rush to clean a coin like this. Never polish it. Never scrub it. Never use chemicals. Never try to make those dark areas disappear. Original toning matters, and once you damage the original surface, you may destroy the very thing that made collectors interested in the first place. And look closely at the tiny details. Collectors examine Jefferson's portrait, the lettering, the date, the D mint mark, Monticello, the architectural details, the steps, the rims, and the fields surrounding the design. They look for unusual marks, die characteristics, surface abnormalities, and evidence that the coin has remained original instead of being artificially altered. Very fine condition can make the story even more interesting because this coin has clearly lived a life. Circulation leaves its fingerprints everywhere. The highest points of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello show wear, but originality can still matter enormously. A genuinely circulated coin with an untouched surface can be far more interesting than a heavily cleaned coin that someone tried to make look beautiful. And this is where collectors can become aggressive. When a genuinely desirable coin appears, bidding does not always begin with noise. Sometimes it starts quietly. One collector watches. Another makes an offer. Then someone else realizes exactly what is sitting in front of them. Suddenly, nobody wants to be the person who walked away. Collectors can hold exceptional pieces for years, and when supply becomes smaller while demand continues rising, finding another one may become increasingly difficult. According to the market value provided for this example, this 1969 with D Jefferson nickel is valued at $150,000. Think about that for a second. A 5-cent coin representing hidden wealth, serious money, and potentially life-changing value. That is why these old coins are a treasure hunt. But do not assume every 1969 with D nickel with black spots is worth a fortune. Authentication and professional grading are critical. The exact nature of the spotting, the coin's surfaces, condition, originality, and any genuine variety or minting characteristic must be examined by experts. If you think you have the candidate, handle it only by the edges and keep it protected. Patience is golden. Do not spend this coin. Do not clean it. Do not scrape the black spots. Do not trust a random internet claim before having the coin properly examined. Sometimes the smallest detail is the difference between an interesting old nickel and something collectors fight to own. And now you've seen coin number 2, but don't go anywhere. Coin number 3 is where this hidden treasure hunt gets even more shocking. The next coin has a detail that could make collectors stop, stare, and start bidding. What comes next is rarer, more mysterious, and even more dangerous to accidentally spend. Stay till the end. Next up. And here it is, the final coin in this hunt, and this one is the kind of old nickel people can spend without ever realizing what they just lost. Do not spend this coin. A 1960 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark may look tired, ordinary, and forgotten, but hidden inside that worn surface could be the detail collectors are desperate to find. Check your old coins now, because this is where a 5-cent piece can become a silent fortune. Stay with me, because this final coin has one detail that changes everything. This is the 1960 Monticello Jefferson nickel, struck without a mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint. And 1960 was no ordinary year in America. The country was entering a new decade filled with enormous change. The Cold War was intensifying, technology was accelerating, American industry was shifting, and the nation was standing on the edge of the dramatic social and cultural changes that would define the 1960 SE. Millions of nickels moved through everyday commerce during this period, and most were eventually worn down, damaged, lost, or simply forgotten. Now look at the front. Thomas Jefferson faces left, with liberty and the date 1960 surrounding his portrait, while In God We Trust appears along the rim. Turn it over, and there is Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, with United States of America and 5 cents completing the classic design. But turn the coin back again and look beneath the date. There is no mint mark. That empty space is important because it tells you this coin was produced at Philadelphia. In your hand, the coin has the familiar solid feel of a Jefferson nickel. It weighs approximately 5 grams, measures about 21.2 millimeters across, and is roughly 1.95 millimeters thick. Its circumference, or girth around the edge, is approximately 66.6 millimeters. Its standard composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a heavier, more substantial presence than its tiny face value suggests. But this coin is not interesting simply because it is old. The real story is survival. Think about how many times a 1960 nickel could have been dropped, scratched, rubbed against other coins, exposed to moisture, thrown into machines, or simply spent until the design was almost gone. Very good condition tells you this coin has definitely lived a life. The surface may show substantial circulation, but collectors still want to know whether that wear is natural and whether the coin has remained original. And that word, original, is extremely important. Never clean this coin. Do not polish it. Do not rub away dark areas. Do not use vinegar, chemicals, abrasive cloths, or any home remedy. Original toning and natural surface character can matter enormously. A cleaned coin may look brighter to you, but to a serious collector, artificial brightness can be a warning sign. Now start looking at the tiny details. Check the date carefully. Check that blank area where the mint mark would appear. Study Jefferson's portrait, the lettering, the rims, Monticello, the architectural lines, the steps, and the surrounding fields. Collectors can become obsessed with tiny characteristics because sometimes one small feature separates a common-looking coin from a coin worthy of professional attention. And here's where the hidden treasure feeling becomes real. When an unusual or exceptionally desirable coin reaches a serious auction, bidding can start quietly. One collector watches. Another raises the offer. Then someone recognizes what is actually being offered, and suddenly the atmosphere changes. Collectors may hold coins like this rather than sell them, because replacing a genuinely desirable example later may be much harder than finding a buyer today. As interest grows, the supply of untouched survivors becomes smaller. According to the market value provided for this example, this 1,960 with no mint mark Jefferson nickel in very good condition is valued at $192,000. That's serious money from a 5-cent coin, a potential life-changing opportunity and a silent fortune hiding in plain sight. But remember, that figure should never be treated as an automatic price for every 1,960 nickel. Authenticity, exact condition, surface preservation, varieties, errors, and professional assessment are critical. If you believe you've discovered a valuable example, handle it only by the edges, protect the original surface, and consider professional grading. Never clean it, never alter it, and never rush to sell before you know exactly what you have. This is the kind of coin that rewards patience. The smartest move can be doing absolutely nothing until the coin has been properly examined. Don't let excitement turn into a mistake. Do not spend this coin. Protect it, inspect it, and remember that the smallest detail can sometimes change the entire story. And if you enjoyed this hidden treasure hunt, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Lucky Penny Finds, and turn on notifications because we are going after more old US coins that people may still be accidentally spending every single day. Final thought. Somewhere right now, an old Jefferson nickel could be sitting in a jar, drawer, collection, or pocket, and its owner may have absolutely no idea what they are holding. These coins can look forgotten, dirty, and ordinary, but collectors know that history can hide behind a tiny date, a missing mint mark, or one unusual surface detail. So check your coins before you spend them. Do not assume an old nickel is worthless. Do not clean it. And never ignore the tiny details. This video ends here, but the treasure hunt does not. The next rare US coin could already be in your hands, waiting for someone to notice it. Keep looking, keep checking, and remember, sometimes the biggest fortunes are hiding in the smallest coins. This is Lucky Penny Finds. See you in the next hunt.